No.
How was that?
No. Just from now on, that noise is banned. It's banned from the podcast. Why? Just don't even answer. Let's just pretend this never happened.
It's my... Okay. Should we go? Oh, he left.
I considered leaving too.
Everybody, and welcome to episode 21 of Rather Be Playing, the podcast where we talk about how we'd rather be playing games than going onto other people's podcasts and trying not to talk about games. I'm Josh.
I'm Elliot.
And I'm Stevo.
So
How's
yeah,
it going, Josh?
It's going well. The other day I guested on the Same Team Y'all podcast, and Tess's main requirement was that I couldn't talk about games much.
No,
because
she kryptonited you.
Wow.
Well, there was like a gentleman's agreement in the sense that we if we did it, Tess would like zone out and pass and just walk away. So we had to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of a discussion in the beginning, and then maybe a little bit more at the end. But for the most part, I just kind of followed along. But it was a good time, though. They're still freaking hilarious, guys.
Good stuff. We're looking forward to it going up on Friday.
Well, yeah, but it's already by the time ours comes out, it'll already be out. So.
No,
wait, what?
No, it won't.
Ours
you
comes
just
out on Tuesday.
Damn it!
You just ruined everything.
I did. Sorry.
It's perfect.
We have a very delicate timeline here, Josh. It doesn't take much to break it.
Yes, it comes out on Friday. This Friday.
Listen to it. Check it out then.
God damn it.
Yeah, Josh is on it, and he doesn't talk about games. So,
but I discuss, all the things I'm loving, and why I love myself, and how I really, 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 really tried to be optimistic.
Wow. How did they did they seriously make you do that? Was it possible? Or did you just bluff it?
I'm out of teeth to pull, so yeah, it worked eventually.
I mean, the positivity party has to be the best part.
The positive party was the best part. I did enjoy dancing.
Yeah. So was that how you talked about video games?
No.
What I love about myself is all the games I play.
No.
For instance,
I couldn't, dude. They one of the restrictions we talked about beforehand was like, it's got to be something other than games. Come on, man. I'm like, all right, fine.
Oh man, they thought of everything.
I know. Oh well.
But Josh, seeing as you're back on your own podcast, tell us what games you love this week.
I'm loving. Well, I don't know if I'm loving it yet. I've started playing Mankind Divided, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Just a short bit of it. I've been traveling a lot this past couple of weeks for work. More on that in a second. But so far, I'm still doing the first mission. So far, it's like Deus Ex Human Revolution. Nothing really jumping out at me that's different. I mean, I've heard a lot of negative opinions on the game, so we'll see. But I've also heard it's ridiculously short. So maybe if it is painful, it'll be a short pain.
Is Adam Jensen still the most entertaining, charismatic character that's ever been created?
I love Adam Jensen.
Has he asked for this yet?
I love Adam Jensen.
He has not asked for this yet.
Oh man, what an unlucky streak for this guy.
I know, but I don't know. I didn't mind it because Deus Ex for me it's always been more gameplay than story. I mean, the story of the original one was pretty cool, but but it's mostly just like, here's all these myriad ways you can go about doing things, and of course I'm going full stealth, no alerts, stuff like that. So that'll be fun.
That'll take a while. It's just gonna take a while. I would have been like, I don't care about this game. I'm just gonna get to the end.
No. I put it on give me Deus Ex difficulty, and put it and gonna go through and ghost the entire.
Is that the
game.
highest?
It's the highest one. It's the one you can choose at the outset. It's the hardest.
Oh, so you unlock like crushing mode.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I can't remember what they called it, but I think the hardest mode is something like I didn't ask for this. I think it's called I asked for this or something like that. So at least they're being at least they're self-aware.
Yeah.
But
Why would you do it to yourself? You're a masochist, man.
I like the stealth gameplay of the Deus Ex game. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
I'm fine. The gameplay itself, I'm expecting to be generally pretty fine throughout. I mean, I don't remember if they made the boss fights in this game better than they did in Human Revolution, where like in Human Revolution as a stealth character, you get there and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Let me pick up all these explosive barrels and throw them at this guy.
Yeah, from what I hear about Mankind Divided, it's very much geared towards going all guns blazing, though. I heard a lot of the new skills and stuff that they brought into it were, ones to be used in if you're going all out attack.
Well,
like rockets out of your hands and shit, right? Like,
well, maybe if I get bored of this, I'll go back and play Human Revolution because it's been a long time.
I loved Human Revolution. I thought it was. Like when I heard there was a sequel coming out in the same way, I was like, that's great. But the reviews are just kind of like, blah.
Yeah. Human Revolution was great. Again, story was kind of here and there, but and in the end, the last level's dumb as hell. But the two like main hub areas you play in, those are fun to just kind of run around, find all the little secret areas and to the different ways you can go in and take out the enemies, and you can go stealth or non-lethal or full lethal if you want. Yeah, I enjoyed Human Revolution, even though they had the warts and all. But I don't know. We'll see how Mankind Divided goes.
I had kind of assumed Dishonored had taken over the mantle as the stealth game du jour.
Well, I mean, you could do both. I mean, so Dishonored's like this. I guess would you call it steampunk? I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty steampunk.
Medieval punk. I don't know. Whereas Deus Ex is like full on cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
Cyberpunk.
It's two different worlds. I mean, yeah, they're generally very similar. Dishonored added the blink mechanic that's not into the Deus Ex, but in Deus Ex you also have like rocket launchers and shit. So
yeah,
or the Gep gun. So we'll see. Again, could be interesting.
And what were you saying about playing while you were traveling?
So yeah, I had a lot of work trips these past 2 weeks. So I brought my Super NES Classic with me, and I was just
nice.
So when I go on the trips, I'm usually exhausted, and I after work I just come back to my hotel room and crash. So I just plug in the SNES Classic and just play. Why? What?
Why not Switch? That's so perfect for this.
Because I leave it here in case the kids want to play it for now.
But no, your Switch.
I know.
You take it with you, man.
And I might take the Switch to the next one, but I wanted to play like some, Final Fantasy and some stuff, so I just felt like bringing it along with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to knock off some SNES Classic games. I haven't even plugged it in since I finished. Well, I got a bit of the way into Mario RPG, but yeah, like it's just been sitting there. So.
Yeah, I was playing some Mario RPG actually when I was on my second trip.
Yeah, for me, beating Super Mario World was the big one, and I haven't played it since. I guess I had already beaten Link to the Past and Super Metroid before getting it, so those would have been the two other big ones. But I still have to go back for Final Fantasy. I know, Josh, I can see you looking at me.
No. I was going to say you need to play Mega Man X.
No, it's Donkey Kong Country.
Well, that too.
That he needs to fucking finish.
And I beat Mega Man 2. But wait, no, that was on the NES, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, that was on the NES.
Mega Man X is like Mega Man perfected.
Oh, really? You think it's better than 2?
Yeah.
Have we had this conversation before? Okay, I'll give it a go, Josh.
This is new to me. I thought 2 was the best one.
So,
from what I heard.
there's two series. There's the OG Mega Man series, and then there's the Mega Man X series. They're generally, the same formula. You got 8 bosses. They have different weaknesses. You do the order. You go fight Dr. Wily. Although in X it's Sigma instead of Dr. Wily. But like X, it's more fluid. Like you have a dash. You have a wall jump. It just adds a bunch of different mechanics to it, and it's, I don't know, X2 is probably like the best OG one, although I'd also put Mega Man 9 up there, whereas Mega Man X, like, they just did everything just right. I don't really know how other way to put it. There was a good video I remember, I think it was by the Game Grumps guys, that they walked through the level design of the very first level you play in the intro stage in Mega Man X, and how it like organically teaches you how to play the game without having like tutorials and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, well, now you first come across this enemy, so you learn to shoot. Then it's the first jump. Oh, and then it forces you to fall down this giant pit. So now you have to wall jump to get out of it. So now you know how to wall jump, and things like that. So it's just kind of neat how they had all that in there.
Yeah, I think I've actually played that first level and then I didn't go back to it after. But Josh, don't you think I'll need you coaching me like you did in Mega Man 2?
I mean, I can help you out with the order of things. I'll just say this. Go to Chill Penguin first.
Chill Penguin. Okay, done.
Because the dash boots are in that one and you'll want them.
Is that a boss name?
Yeah, so in Mega Man...
Chill Penguin?
So in the OG Mega Man series, it's always, something man, with the exception of Splash Woman. In the X series, it's usually like some sort of animal or something. So you've got like Chill Penguin, Sting Chameleon, Storm Eagle, Spark Mandrill. They're all like some sort of like animal of some kind. Or wire sponge. They do kind of get a little ridiculous, like neon.
They were running out of animals. They're scraping the barrel.
After 6, they just...
Well, no, once you get to like Mega Man X5, they start they're named after like Guns N' Roses characters. People.
What?
There's like Axel, there's Duff McWhalen. They're like, it's like the weirdest, whoever like translated the names had like this big old hard on for Guns N' Roses. It was really weird.
That's so good.
Big old hard on. I think we found our episode title.
They don't all have to be dirty. I think the past two have been about wieners or poop.
Last one was wieners, yeah.
And the last one before that was doo-doo.
Yeah, maybe we can graduate to kindergarten here.
Classing it up for you every second Tuesday.
Just if you play the Mega Man X games, stop at 5, maybe 4. After that, 5's okay. 6 is horseshit.
Ouch.
6 is absolutely terrible.
Capcom will probably not be coming on this show anytime soon.
Friend of the show, future guest, Mr. Capcom.
Mr. Capcom.
I mean, they've destroyed any hope of Mega Man being good. We'll see what Mega Man 11 has in store. I mean, 9 and 10 were pretty good, but
they didn't develop them. There was those.
Yeah, it was Inti Creates, right?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So, we'll see. I have no faith. But how about you, fuckers?
I finished 2 games this time.
What? So, 2018 and changed Elliot. I changed Josh first. First, he was on the podcast being positive, and then he was being kind to children, leaving his Switch behind. Changed people all around, and now Elliot's beating games. Lads, the world is upside down.
I think I'm beating the games that Josh isn't beating. It's been like 2 weeks since he beat a game.
Yeah, I know. I need to beat a game. Maybe I'll knock out Mankind Divided and annoy the shit out of you guys. Because Elliot wanted to save that for a roulette.
I want to save that for a roulette, but then Stevo hasn't finished the first one, and he probably never will, so...
Yeah, do you think you need to play the first one?
So I think that's a direct...
It is a direct sequel, but when you boot up Mankind Divided, it's like, do you want to watch this 12-minute video that recaps Human Revolution?
Yeah, that might be useful.
Yeah. Well, I played... I played, like, right after we finished recording the last episode, I finished Metroid Samus Returns. And that's the game I told you about. But I also beat another game, which I totally forgot about until just now, which was SteamWorld Dig 2. So I can get into both of those. SteamWorld Dig 2 won't take too long, but it was essentially SteamWorld Dig 1, but really like much more thought out, much more planned out, a lot better quality of life. The fast travel was so much less cumbersome.
Yeah.
Where in SteamWorld Dig 1, that's like, you guys just... Steve, you were playing it as well when I was playing it.
Yeah, I finished it up in the last couple of months as well.
Yeah, and it was like you have those pneumatic tubes that take you to where you were last at, and in SteamWorld Dig 1, they would only take you to the last one you used.
Yep.
And if you wanted to get to one before that, you had to actually make your way physically to that one and use that. But then you could no longer use the one that you were at before. Like it was just the last one you used, and that kind of sucked. Whereas this one, you can choose which tube you want to go to, and there's kind of like 3 distinct areas instead of just the one.
Yep.
There's a bit more of a story. There's more characters. There's more dialogue. For better or worse, it's like the story's pretty basic.
Yeah. It's just larger scope all around it.
It's a larger scope. It's much more polished, much more refined, much more like usable, much more user friendly. Respects your time a lot more with. For example, in pneumatic tubes. Yeah, a lot more upgrades, a lot more customization, a lot more I feel like there was more of like the mind puzzles and more reason to go after them because of the upgrades you can get.
Is the gameplay still very similar? The jumping still very heavy as opposed to being like floaty?
Yes, it's like the core mechanics of the game are exactly the same still, which I appreciated too. Like it's just like everything has just been refined. Like this is what the first game should have been. The first game feels like a beta now compared to this. Yeah, it's really good. And like the story, without giving too much away, ties into like the SteamWorld heist world. Yeah, because you have like the first two games where people are digging under the earth, and then you have Heist where robots are like floating around in space. And it's like, how does that connect? And this one kind of fills in the blanks a little bit more.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. I didn't expect that, and it was really nice. But yeah, it's the same like you can't put it down addictive gameplay that I had from playing the first one on Vita. I played this one on Switch. As I said, it was the last game I bought in 2018, like 5 minutes before the ball, or in 2017, like right before the ball dropped.
Good work.
Yeah, and it's it was good. It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it, especially if you enjoyed the first one at all. Like this feels like more of a proper game.
Yeah, the only thing that has me hesitant is I have no money to spend on the Nintendo eShop, and I feel like I don't want to buy it on Steam because it seems like it's perfectly designed for Switch.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why they even have like big screen version. Like you just need, it's perfect on Switch. Yeah, you just lay in bed and play. And so that was SteamWorld Dig 2. Highly recommended. It's a really fun diversion. It took me about, I think the first one was like 7 hours. This one was like 12 or 13, I think. So it was a little bit more. That's
a decent amount, though. Not too long where it would scare me off, for example.
Yeah, like it's a great diversion. I think how long to beat it says like 9 hours, so I took a little more time.
Yeah.
I got stuck at one point actually, and dicked around there until I got out of it. But yeah, great game. You should play it, especially if you like the first one and you like Metroidvanias.
I certainly do.
Yeah.
And speaking of which,
I beat a Metroid game, which was the 3DS finally returned to Metroid after I don't know how long. Like Metroid Prime 3 pretty much. Don't count Federation Force. The Samus Returns Metroid 2 remake. And it was again like super addictive, fun. Like it's just, I don't know. It's the nature of Metroidvanias, I think, where you just can keep playing them over and over. It's that sense of exploration that kind of hooks you. And
they made significant changes from the original, didn't they? They added mechanics. Make it more interesting moment to moment.
I mean, the original was 2 buttons. It was Game Boy, monochromatic.
Jump, shoot.
And it stays pretty true to the source material for better and for worse. Unlike Super Metroid and like subsequent Metroid games, it's a lot more linear. There's much less backtracking. In fact, there's almost no backtracking, which is kind of a bummer. Like, the only things you need, like there are moments where you can backtrack and, you get stuck for a while and then you're like, maybe I'll backtrack a little bit and you can suddenly get to a new area that you couldn't get through before. And you're thinking, yes, this is it. And all that's there is like a missile upgrade, like you increase your missile capacity. And it's like, that happens a lot. And eventually you learn that like, okay, this is still the same mostly linear game as the Game Boy, but much more expanded, much more refined, lots more quality of life. You have like 8 more buttons that you can play with, which makes it a lot more easier to just have a better time with it, basically. They added a melee mechanic, which when an enemy attacks you, it gives you like a little, like a visual cue. There's like a spark, and then you hit the button at the right time, and she'll kind of like stun it with like an uppercut, and then it's like one shot to kill it after that. They added moves that were never in that Metroid that came later, like the grapple.
Yeah.
And they added a lot of like new uses for it. Instead of just swinging across the gaps, you can like there's certain blocks you can only move using the grapple.
Mm.
There's bosses that you can only defeat by like grappling to them and pulling them down to the ground to stun them, and then like it opens up their weak point and you blast them. The only other downside I'd say is, and this is probably a shortcoming of the original, was like the variety in bosses was pretty low.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you've got alphas, gammas, omegas, and theta. I think is the other one, something like that. Zeta,
I think so,
Zeta. That's it.
It's the same. Like, the whole point of the game is to just kill as many Metroids as possible, and like the more you get, you absorb their DNA, and it lets you unlock the next level. Like, it drains the purple liquid.
Oh.
And at the start, like it's the exact same boss. Like the first like 10 or 12, you kill them the same way, no variety, and then you get to the next stage, and it's the same thing there. It's like the next boss, you figure out how to beat them, and then they're all the same like that. Like literally, as Josh said, like 4 different bosses, and there's like I can't remember how many like all together. Like they tell you at the start,
it's like 59 or something like that.
Yeah, it's over 50 for sure. Like I wanted to say like 60, maybe 70 or something like that. But you know, once you learn how to beat it, like they get progressively more and more difficult, more and more frustrating. But once you figure it out, they're pretty easy to get through.
It seems like it could be a kind of fun mobile game to play, though. You know, that satisfying loop of, yeah, it's a bit repetitive, but you know, you're making your way through the game, and it's something that you could pick up, play a few minutes, and then put down again. Is the save system forgiving, or is it very like old school?
It's very old school, but it's a 3DS, so you can just close and it'll suspend the game. Right?
Oh, nice!
You just shut the clamshell.
And and it has one major improvement from the original that is much welcomed. It has a map.
Yes,
Yeah.
It has a map.
God, play the original.
So nice.
Oh.
I can't believe the original didn't have one. Like looking back, I don't know how you would get through it.
I mean, I somehow did. But yeah,
like and they tie the story a little bit more in with other Metroid games. They add in like other characters and themes and stuff from other Metroid games, which is like I feel like this kind of makes it a more canon a more canon Metroid entry compared to the original 2, which was like much more linear and so kind of like the black sheep of the series for the longest time. And now it gives it more relevance, I think, in the universe. And it's really fun, really polished, they did a really good job. Like you look at the source material again and like what they had to work with was so basic
and aged, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, and they stayed true to that and made it as good as it could possibly be, I think. I felt as I was playing it, like, wow, that was a genius way to interpret that and to change it without like too much of a departure. Yeah.
I do need to play it. Again, I played and beat AM2R, which was a lot of fun. I was impressed with that one as well.
And yet it didn't have any upgrades from the original apart from graphics, did it, Josh?
No, it did. It had like whole new sections and like some extra bosses in there. Still generally the same game, and most of the sections were largely also the same, but they did add a lot of quality of life stuff. There's also a map, just a lot of just handled a lot better. Played more like Super Metroid than Metroid 2. So,
that's kind of cool.
But it was also really good. I liked it a lot. But I've got a couple 3DS games I got to beat. I'm sad I don't have that other one. I don't have Metroid Samus Returns though. So
yeah, it's
really funny that you've been playing all these Metroidvania games, though, Elliot, because I just picked up one and started playing it again the other evening while I was babysitting my brother's kids after they went off to bed. I sat down with the Vita, greatest console ever made, and started playing a bit of Axiom Verge.
I have to stop you there.
I know. I was just teasing. Come on.
I've been wanting to say, like, I didn't mean to break up your segue, but how do you not have a 3DS? Like, now that you can appreciate like Nintendo games having a Switch, like having a Vita as your only handheld is like having an Xbox One as your only console. Like you're missing out on the meat of top-notch games.
I have got a Switch, and I don't intend to be you as a Nintendo fan who buys everything on every single console. You buy it over on the next.
No. So the one thing I'll say is that with the DS and the 3DS, because of the way they're set up with the dual screens, you don't have a lot of games on there that you're going to be buying multiple times because they only work on the freaking DS system.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there are a couple remakes on there, like there's Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6, originally released for Super Nintendo and they made it for DS. But well, I guess 4 was Nintendo, but yeah. So
and you don't think there's any way that maybe they could like split the Switch? Maybe you played on a tabletop and you turn the Switch, vertically. And they could split it down the middle and you could play with 3DS
Virtual Console. Yeah, it's possible, but I mean, I don't think they'll have every single game on there.
We're not there yet.
And yet you could because it's touchscreen.
Yeah, it's totally doable. Totally doable, absolutely.
Well, anyway, that's not the reason that I wouldn't buy it. The reason I wouldn't buy it is because I've got so many consoles already. Yeah. And I've got so many games on the Vita that need to be played and so many games on the Switch.
And I didn't mean that as a dig on Vita. I love the Vita as well. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to get one handheld, it's the 3DS 100 times before the Vita.
I guess the reason I got the Vita was because there was so much talk about playing PS4 games on it at the time.
Yeah.
And that really hasn't panned out because games, what do you call it? Remote play? Was that what you called it?
Yeah.
Remote play on the Vita really just, people didn't make the games as such that you would be able to handle without having trigger buttons, without having two sets of trigger buttons, and having to tap a touch screen instead of use a trigger button and a bumper button on a controller is not good enough. So yeah, rolling back to Metroidvania games, I've been playing Axiom Verge on the Vita, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm finding it's a little easier than Super Metroid, or at least in the first few areas that I've been playing through. I haven't died nearly as much as I would have in Super Metroid, and I found a few upgrades. I found a few different weapon types. I'm really starting to get the feel for it. The save system is basically exactly the same, and a lot of the enemies have their counterparts in the Metroid games, I'm sure. But it's just really fun. It's really scratching an itch, and it's again a perfect mobile game. I'm gonna be able to play a couple of hours of it here and there, if I'm traveling, or maybe if I'm just want to lie in bed and play a game as opposed to sitting on the sofa and playing something on the big screen. So it's really, I'm really enjoying it. The only thing that's kind of bugging me about it is that it doesn't have cross save. Considering it has all these bells and whistles and it's so modern, and it has a PS4 version and it has a Vita version, the fact that it doesn't have cross save and I can't like switch off the Vita and go play it on the big screen when I'm feeling that is really kind of it's just really disappointing. I'll probably play it through on Vita. Again, for all the reasons that I've just named. But it's just a bit of a kind of sucks when so many games went out of their way to add things like cross save when they had a Vita version released. It's really funny that they just left it out.
It does have cross save with Vita though.
Oh, what's that?
Vita TV. That's how I did it.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I think I have one of those lying around. I can't remember the last time I booted it up.
Because I also started up Axiom Verge way back, and I started on Vita as well. And I'm surprised to hear you say that you're having a good time with it, because I think it was purely the controls. Like, I got to the first boss and it was impossible for me. Like, I sat there for a good 10-15 minutes dying over and over again.
You just had to jump over him and shoot him from behind, right?
I don't know. Like, I can't remember at this point how you beat him, but whatever you had to do, I couldn't do it. Like, I couldn't get my reflexes on the Vita enough. But then I put it on the Vita TV and I played it with the PS4 controller and I beat him on my first try. So I was like, okay, this is clearly something I have to play through with the controller.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play it on Vita. Like, I wanted to love it on Vita. But I was like, you need more. But it's awesome that you're finding it to be more playable. I just couldn't even.
Yeah, it's great. I've only played the first few hours, but the thing was, I never got stuck once. I didn't keep dying in the same place, which is always the problem with Super Metroid. When you were up against a boss and you just couldn't crack it, it could take you hours, or at least it took me hours. Sure, it wouldn't have taken Josh hours, but that is kind of taken over as my current mobile game, or my current lazy game if I want to play something in bed. But Josh,
I had a lot of fun with it.
As I was saying to you, my new chill out game for on a Sunday, or if I have a hangover, or if I'm just too lazy to boot something up that has a story or that has really difficult gameplay, I've taken to playing The Witness.
Yeah, because when I have a hangover, the thing I want to do is deal with puzzles that hurt my brain.
So The Witness is such a different kind of game from anything I've ever played. It looks different. It plays different. For anyone who hasn't heard of The Witness, it is a first-person perspective puzzle game set on an island full of beautiful, bright colors. It's got like sandy beaches and bright green forests, and it's kind of a small. It seems like a really large area. It feels a bit like Zelda in that way, that you look at something and it appears so far away, but then you start running to it and all of a sudden you're there, and it's kind of a nice feeling. It feels like a world in itself. But the main way that you interact with the world is by doing puzzles, and they're all grid-based puzzles that each have different quirks, or you might have to work in shapes to some of them, or some of them you're drawing out the line from the start point on the grid to the end point, and you have to figure out which way to go through the puzzle maze based on real world objects or real world areas. And it's a hard thing to describe, and it's a hard thing to play because the puzzles are so damn difficult. And to say that it's my chill out game, I'm sure people listening are going, what the hell's wrong with you? But the reason it chills me out is because I'm happy being dumb at it. I'm like, what I mean by that is, like, I suddenly realized about it, like playing it last Sunday, that it's fine to walk away from the puzzle. There's way more of them. There's like hundreds of them or whatever. So when I get stuck on a type of puzzle, I look at the type and the different things that it's integrating, and I go, well, maybe there is a simpler version of this puzzle somewhere else on the island. So instead of trying to bang my head against this one, which I feel like is straight up impossible, I'm just going to go walk to another part of the island and hope that I see something similar, but an easier version of it. It's kind of like a language.
But do you go back?
Yes, I'll go back later on if I have worked out the quirk to that type of puzzle. So some of them have Tetris pieces.
Yeah, I saw you sketching them out
I hate
put it on Twitter.
Those puzzles specifically I hate, because there's a rule to those that I haven't yet really grasped.
Yes, exactly.
And I feel like half the ones that I do with those damn Tetris pieces, they don't, and I kind of solve them accidentally, because I'm like, wait, that shouldn't work. Isn't it supposed to be this way? But yeah, so all the other kind of puzzles, I kind of figure out the rules behind it, but those ones in particular drive me crazy.
Yeah, they're really, the ones with the colored jewels on them are really annoying me right now. I have no idea where to even start with them.
I think I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, don't tell me, because I know I'm going to wander somewhere and there's going to be a really simple version of it with just one jewel on the map or on the puzzle grid, and I'll be able to work it out from there, and then I'll be able to build it up.
I'm excited to hear when you have your first aha moment.
So my first aha moment was everything about the maze garden.
Yeah.
That was the first, I see what you're talking about. Sorry, you were talking about my first aha moment about what is going on in the world.
Sort of. There's
no puzzles.
I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. There's a specific thing that eventually you figure out, and you're like, holy crap. And that's the sort of thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah. It is really interesting, because as you walk around the world, there are like these statues, and they obviously looked like real people were frozen in time, doing whatever they were doing at the time. And I'm really like, yeah, it's a beautiful world, and it's very mysterious. and the puzzles are so satisfying. Like Josh, the ones that I just beat were the garden mazes. Going through all of those.
Yeah.
And so you have to, there's these individual mazes, and each of them has a different quirk to it, has a different puzzle, slightly different spin on the same type of puzzle. And then once you do it, you have to put them all together. Yep. And looking down over the garden and drawing the line through the grid of grids is just the most satisfying thing. When you get it, you truly feel like the smartest person in the world. And I think that's the real joy of The Witness. It gives you those moments of satisfaction when you get it done, that it has taught you this thing, you have mastered it, and you're the king, essentially. Right. But as well, as I say, it's taught me humility. It's taught me like just it seems impossible because you're an idiot right now. Go walk somewhere else and maybe you can get smarter. And it's like, it's not something that many games teach you. Most games teach you, keep banging your head against this brick wall, get a bit better, get good, and you should be able to get past the thing. But this is like, you don't understand this yet. This is beyond your language capabilities. Go learn a few more verbs.
I still need to finish it. I'm at the, I think towards the end, but it's been so long since I played, I'm afraid I'm going to forget how to do all the damn puzzles.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But so that has become my one for if I don't want to focus on a story and I don't feel like I have enough, I want to be worried about tough gameplay, and so I'm really enjoying that at the moment.
But like, I don't know. I guess it's still, yeah. I was gonna say it's still like tough gameplay, but it doesn't have to be, as you're saying.
I mean, it's at least there's no time limits. It's just you.
Okay.
Doing. So there's no like pressure when you're doing the puzzles, other than I want to solve this. So at least if he sits there for an hour just staring at a grid, it's not like he's there's something pressuring him in order to do that. It's just a will Steve be smart today sort of thing.
Yeah. And walking through the world is just pretty, and it's just well crafted, and it's relaxing in general. There's not a lot of sound. There's not a lot of music. It's all very like chilled out and ambience, and as opposed to like I don't know. We can. I'm just talking nonsense now.
No. Like I've seen the game. It's been on my Steam wish list for a long time, and it's one of those games that's kind of taken a long time to come down in price.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, hold off. It definitely scratches a very particular itch, and unless what I'm talking about is something that you feel that you need to add to your gaming collection, it's definitely a certain style of game, I would hold off, and you never know, you might get it on PS Plus at some point.
That's true. But yeah, it is. It looks like a game you could play forever, probably.
Yeah, so definitely. And that's the other thing. Again, it's the humility that it's teaching me. I might never beat this game. I might never find out what's going on with the statues, but I'm kind of okay with that. As long as I occasionally beat a puzzle and get that satisfaction of feeling like a genius for a second. That's all I really need from it.
Yeah, I love having a game in the background where like you said, like I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get like too much of my brain power involved. But I want to play something, and like something you just keep coming back to. Like right now for me, it's Mario Odyssey because I don't have all the moons yet.
Yep.
But that leads to frustration a lot of the time. Like there's a lot of timed events to get moons, and sometimes you're just like, you need a chill out game. So
yeah,
I get it.
And in the meantime, I've also been still beating games. I finished up Celeste on a stream actually the other evening.
Finished it?
Yeah, I did. I think I played maybe 3 chapters on stream over a couple of nights. I basically just beat the story though, and I think there's an epilogue chapter that I'm going to play as well. And obviously, you could always go back for all the strawberries. It's a really challenging, really fun game, and the story was quite nice. The story was groundbreaking in the way that it talks about some issues that you don't hear talked in games, like straight up. It tackles them head on. Depression and anxiety, and it kind of, the story isn't life changing, but it's nice. It is kind of. I think the moral is basically try not to get bogged down with your anxieties. Try to accept that if you suffer from anxiety, maybe those voices will always be there, and just try to accept them and live with them, and you can still achieve things, and you can still get there. You can still, you can still climb the mountain, and it was really fun to play. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. I actually watched your stream. I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you were like manning the stream while you were playing.
No, not at all.
I don't think you did. I made a few comments.
Did you? I haven't even worked out how to show up Twitch while playing, so maybe we need to talk about that before I...
Do you just need a second screen for that, pretty much?
Yeah, maybe I need to find... I've got an old Android tablet lying around here somewhere, so maybe that would do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had it on in the background while I was playing something else. I forget what, but I was like, hey, there goes Stevo. Dying a lot.
Yes! I don't think I ever really embarrassed myself. The times that I did die a lot, I think I almost always managed to get the strawberry or clear the screens that I was trying to get through at that point,
Just stream The Witness and just have him 30 minutes of him staring at a puzzle, yelling.
Yeah, just staring in the same position for a good half hour.
Did it freeze?
You would definitely need the cam on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe even one overhead, watching you sketch out your nose.
Yeah. That would be funny. So that was Celeste. And Elliot, you predicted another game that was perfect for me, Yakuza 0.
Yes.
Man, yes! I booted it up. I am so glad that I picked it up in 2017. I'm so glad. It is at once the most serious game that I've ever played in my life, and the most zany, wacky, ridiculous game. I don't understand how it manages to bounce between those complete polar opposites, but it does it, and it works. Yeah. It is the cutscenes for the main story are so serious, and people grimacing constantly and talking in very serious tones and threatening each other, and it's oh shit, this is really important. And then you jump to the side quests, which are all jokes and stupid, and it's how did they have the balls to throw all this into the same game? And yet it just works. It is so much fun.
It's exactly it. How do they have the balls to be let's throw this in and throw this in and this ridiculous joke of a side quest? And then there was one side quest I did where it was you're stopping this high school girl's panty ring where this madam was sending out high school girls to sell their underwear to men on the street or something like that. And I was well, that was a really serious one. It was super sad. And these girls, it was because one girl wanted to get out and she couldn't get out because she had got in. She just wanted to make a few dollars or something like that. And then she's I can't get out. She's going to beat us or something.
Wow.
And it was holy shit. And so you shut down this whole thing. So it's got some really, and then, the very next one was getting two people on a date to like each other better.
Yeah.
So it just bounces from these
so goofy.
Yeah. It's every idea that anyone thought of to put into the game, they just put in. Let's just do it.
Sure, that'll fit. Yeah. Tone?
We'll find a place.
What tone?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's and it looks so dated. The graphics look so dated, and the controls, the brawling mechanics, the gameplay is nothing to write home about, But none of it matters. It's just I wonder what weird thing is going to happen next, or I wonder what's going to happen in the story. And it's just, again, it's a really fun one for just picking up and playing through a couple of missions, because you never know what's going to happen. And
yeah, it's so entertaining. What else was I going to say about it? How far did you get?
Oh, I'm 3 chapters in, so I've completed the first 3 chapters.
Okay, yeah.
So the story's rolling pretty well. It's so serious. Everything about the lot and your sensei, your kind of father figure, and everything is so I don't know. It's such a game of contrasts. It's really hilarious.
Yeah, and it's so archaic too. Like you could tell they don't put much effort into like the menus or the saving system, which takes a good 45 seconds.
It's
time
awful.
You want to save
it like
game.
bounces out into old PS3 style menus and things.
So bad.
Oh, what a funny game!
But you gotta love it. Yeah, glad you're playing it. Glad you're liking it.
Loving it.
I haven't played it in a long time. That's a good chill out game. I should get into
it.
It
is. It's definitely a good one for if you don't want to take things too seriously and you don't want to have to pay too much attention. Just run about in that for a little while and see what kind of zany side quests you can come across.
Definitely. Did either of you play the Metal Gear Survive?
No,
demo,
I debated it. I just didn't have the time. I think I was out when I needed to.
Debated
it. Oh dear.
Yes.
You're never allowed to complain about me ever again.
Baited it as well. I missed it on PS4, and then the PC one came out later. I was like, just before it ended, I jumped on just for one quick round. It plays like Metal Gear Online. There was only one game mode available, and you kind of just like equip your loadout, much like Metal Gear Online. And in that loading screen, while you're waiting for people to join you, you can kind of just like run around. And it reminded me of PUBG, like, you run around. You can like shoot each other.
Run around punching people in the head before the game starts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there's only 4 of us, so like it's much smaller, but that's kind of how it starts off. And then the only game mode available that I tried was this like tower defense. So the 4 of you like get dropped in this area. You have your loadout. You can run around and this little, like, we were in this kind of like abandoned pueblo kind of thing in the middle of the desert, and then it lets you know like counting down for the first wave, and then guys just kind of start walking across the bridges to come over and start like walking down the roads. And so like you've got these like select spots where you know to look out for people, because they're not just going to ambush you from the sky, but you know, you start seeing like the like zombie people walking towards you. And so you have guns but limited ammunition, and you've got like a machete as well, and you've got the most effective one for me was the spear.
Right.
It's like a long range one. So you just kind of walk up and you stab people to keep them from coming.
Yeah.
And we did pretty good. Like we beat the first wave and maybe the second one, but then the third one, like guys, like the enemies kind of coming at you were running and they had bombs and shit. And it was just like everyone on my team died within like 20 seconds of that round. And then I was just fighting them off because they're trying to get to this device in the middle. Anyway, it's exactly like tower defense. But each one controls each character is controlled by a player, and you have free movement. And it was fun for what it was, but it was, you know, that's the only game mode I tried. And I heard there's a lot of other ones. Some of them are better, some of them not so good. And it's just kind of weird how it just came. You know, the game just came out.
Yeah, nobody was talking about it at all.
No one cared. No one asked for it. But like people who I you know, like you go on Reddit and someone's like, I put 30 hours into it. And that was fun. That's all I needed. Like I'm done with it now. And it was fun for what it was. And I was like, I'm surprised people get that much out of it. But as I mentioned before, I hate the feeling of it's just Konami like making money off a guy they screwed over who like created this empire for them.
And review wise, it's getting like 6s, something around there.
6s, 7s, low 7s, mid 6s. So like, I mean, yeah, that's probably all I'm gonna play of it. I'm glad I tried it without having to pay for it.
Yeah.
But it's like I if you've played Metal Gear Online, I think my description you can picture exactly.
Yeah, totally. What was the other one you were trying?
I'd rather play Metal Gear Online. I tried the Valkyria Chronicles 4 demo, which is available on the Japanese PlayStation Store exclusively right now. I'm sure it'll eventually come to the US one.
Right.
Is it English language or is it in Japanese?
All Japanese.
Okay.
And like, you know, I've mentioned that I lived in Japan, and I don't know or speak the language, but there's a few symbols that like I've seen enough times that I can tell it, you know, I could get enough through navigating the menu and figuring out what to do. And then like once you're on the field, it's pretty straightforward. You don't really need to know the language. You control your character just like Valkyria Chronicles 1. You move them into position within like your AP allotment, and then you take your action. And yeah, I mean, it played just like the first one. My only complaint was that like you jump in and you're like, yes, this looks great. This feels just like Valkyria Chronicles, which like the series has kind of departed from since the first one for some reason. And you're feeling good about it. But then like the mission ends and you get taken back to the main like mission select. And it's like, there's the one you just did. Do the next one. And it's just a cutscene.
Yeah.
And obviously they're all speaking Japanese. I don't understand it at all. And so I'm just like waiting for it to end. Next mission, another. There's like 6 in a row of just like cutscenes.
That's how Valkyria Chronicles 1 was too.
Yeah,
so
that's
how
it was.
You had like the when you'd open like each chapter was it looked like a book on this page.
Yeah. It was
and
exactly
you'd pick each picture, and most of them were cutscenes, but one of them, maybe sometimes 2 of them, were battles. So
eventually, yeah. Okay, so I just didn't remember that, I guess. Yeah. So it was the exact same way, and maybe I just had less patience for it because it was all in Japanese every time.
I don't know what you're saying. Just let me shoot something. God damn it!
So I got through the first 2 missions, and it kept going. So I haven't played. If there's another mission after that, I just went through a bunch of cutscenes.
Yeah.
No, I did get up to the 3rd mission, but I haven't finished it yet. But yeah, you know, there's a variety of troops. There's like snipers. There's like the soldiers that run up. You can. I got this mortar girl in the second mission, and it was amazing. Like she would take out like 3 people at a time with her mortars, and so I ran her up ahead, up against some like sandbag walls, and I was like, I'm going to take all these guys out. I don't think I aimed it quite high enough. She just destroyed herself. And I was like,
ragdoll off the edge of the screen, off the map.
Just instant death. It's like, oh my god, why? I mean, like you see the actual like graphic, and it's clearly pointing over it, but the arc was going into the sandbag, and it just like, yeah. So she died, and I was like pissed. I was like, this is gonna take so much longer now, but it didn't. It was fine. I just kept going with it, and like, yeah, it's Valkyria Chronicles like back to true form. It's really nice.
And I loved the first one. I just hope that the other classes that are not scouts are useful again. Because like, I mean, the other ones are useful, but if you're going for an S rank or an A rank or whatever it was, you basically just loaded up on scouts, ran the whole way across the map, you know, and tried to finish as quickly as possible, which wasn't almost impossible with all the other classes because they don't move nearly as far.
Yeah. I have to say, one of my biggest shames is I never finished Valkyria Chronicles.
What?
I haven't finished it either.
I enjoyed it so much. I got quite a few chapters into it. I think I got past the one with the big giant train. Yep. And then I got to... There's like 2 with a big giant train in them. Is there?
It's a giant tank in the middle of the desert.
Okay. So I got past the giant tank, and then I got to the giant train. And I think I'm at the train, which is like going back and forward. And I tried it many times.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, but it was kicking my ass. I haven't tried it in a couple of years now. And it was such a fun game. And it was so, like, the story was so beautifully told. That kind of comic book style to introduce cutscenes was really, really, it was something special.
You should finish it. It was
the cutscenes, beautiful art style.
And I guess I could go back and just watch through all the videos again to refresh myself, and wouldn't have to redo the missions to remind myself of the story. So that would be pretty good.
Well, I mean, you can always redo missions to get some extra experience, so you can stop sucking on the one you're on.
True that.
Stop sucking on the one you're on.
Episode title?
Episode title.
No.
Wait, it doesn't have to be dirty. I can get out of this, guys. I can learn.
So, anything else, Elliot?
So we're trying to do this, take up less time with the news, because we are playing a lot of games now. And we're going to do opinions on these news stories in one sentence. right?
Yep.
Just the opinions, or are we just describing them in one sentence and moving on?
Somebody read the story.
Read the headline.
Yeah, read the headline, and then maybe a sentence each.
Sure.
Okay. First headline: Switch turns 1 year old.
Happy birthday.
I would say, yeah, what a fantastic year. Well done, Nintendo.
That's 2 sentences. You are out.
No!
It was a semicolon. It was a semicolon.
Yeah, it was a semicolon.
Yeah, okay, fine. A huge gamble that has paid off in spades.
Well said.
Good job.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's next up?
Next up, after months of controversy, ESRB will add in-game purchases label to games.
Most fucking useless gesture I've ever seen.
So unfair to developers who care about their consumers.
Doesn't go far enough for the companies that fuck shit up and lumps in the companies that do it right with the bad ones.
EA.
That's all one sentence.
Run on. It's a run on, whatever.
Semicolon. I think semicolon will be the episode title.
I feel like we could talk a bit more about this one.
Oh, of course we could.
I mean, we had a loot box discussion a while back, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
I mean, yes. If you're talking about if you're lumping in people that are like actually providing like good DLC, like let's compare The Witcher 3 and its DLC versus like fucking Battlefront 2 and all of its loot box bullshit. They're technically both in-game purchases, but the actual content of them is totally different. And
when you think about what CD Projekt Red gave for free, and then they create these 100-hour expansions that they're selling, like they did everything right. They are great consumers, and compare that to, as Josh says, like PUBG, which threw in loot boxes after loads of people had already bought it. They're not the same.
And that's the thing. Like, this happened as a response to Battlefront 2 completely abusing this, and this is their answer. And it's not, this is what like Android and Apple App Store have been doing for years now, just saying, hey, you can spend more money. And this doesn't solve the loot box problem. Right. This just like, it just puts a negative label on games that do it right, and it doesn't punish enough the games that do it wrong.
Totally. Right? It just muddies the waters of everything and paints everyone with the same brush. It's just, well, hopefully some developers who feel hard done by, CD Projekt Red and Nintendo, hopefully we see them make statements on this. Hopefully we see them call out the SRB for their bullshit. Yeah,
I feel like it's, like lobby groups got to them, and whatever they were gonna do got watered down to this like useless.
This story is not over. There's we're gonna keep hearing about this until something real happens with this. It's gambling.
It should say, warning, gambling with real money.
All right, we've already failed this miserably.
It's a lot of sentences.
Do we have any other news items we have to talk about?
So the
last one,
got one more,
is PS Plus is going to remove PS3 and Vita games from the monthly giveaways and only do 2 PS4 games as of a year from now, next March.
Kind of slightly disappointed about just having 2 PS4 games since they're getting rid of essentially 4 games for Vita and PS3. But it makes sense in the sense that PS3 and Vita are technically old technology. So I kind of get it.
I would.
My poor lonely Vita. I still want Vita games. I still want the Vita games that I haven't bought because I'm never going to buy Vita games.
I don't mind them taking away value, but what value are they adding then?
Right. Yeah, good question.
But if I was going to add sentences beyond that,
and that's the one sentence news.
That was frightening.
We'll start singing. It's the sucky thing is a lot of the PS4 games we were getting through that was through cross-buy Vita games they were adding. But
maybe we'll still get those. Maybe we'll still get PS4 games that have cross-buy. No, maybe they're kind of saying that we won't. That's exactly what this is saying.
Well, I mean, I think you might, just because when they have, so their plan was, 2 PS4, 2 PS3, 2 Vita. That doesn't always mean that each game was only for that platform. There were cross-buy ones in there. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
I think the 2 that they leave may be cross-buy depending on which game they have. So I don't know. We'll see.
Someone on either Reddit or etc. made a list of just the games of 2017 that we got on PS4 purely because they were Vita games that had cross-buy.
Right.
Yep.
And PS3 games, obviously. So like we're losing a lot, and they have to do something about that. They got to give us something else, I think. Like,
give me that damn PS2 library.
Yeah, give me fucking backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
I'll take it. All right, I think that's all the news we had.
That was your one sentence news.
The song was
as
better.
Josh sung for us.
I feel like we could maybe try and do one sentence news, and if anyone goes over one sentence, we can start playing the Oscar music to like get them off stage.
You should, but it's not a length thing. A sentence can go on for quite a while.
As you proved there, Elliot, with one of them. Very impressive wordsmithing.
Yeah. If we're the podcast of loopholes, so
Maybe make it 1 minute, the 1 minute news.
Yeah.
1 minute news. Yeah,
That could be work.
Yeah, and go. All right. So I guess next week we should all be, or next episode we should all be done with Observer.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
I imagine that's what we'll all be playing the whole time. Anything else on the agenda, guys?
Well, as long as you can get out of that first room, Elliot.
It's been a rough start for me, but I'm going to keep at it. So we'll see.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to focus on Observer. Maybe a little more Witness if I'm feeling lazy, and Yakuza. And I might take a little look at Mega Man X, since Josh suggested it to me.
Should.
And since potentially it could be a quick playthrough if I play it in the right order.
SNES Classics.
Maybe I'll go back and finish The Witness since you've been talking about it. And then I'll decide if I'm actually going to finish Mankind Divided or if I'm going to wait for you guys to do save it for a backlog roulette. Other than that, what was I going to play? Well, obviously Observer. I think, that's right. I wanted to start up Hollow Knight. I might do that.
Man, keep starting new
jealous.
games.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the Switch version.
Yeah.
Gonna need that. As for me, just Observer. I've been, as I mentioned, I was playing a lot of Mario Odyssey this morning and got like 40 moons. So that's suddenly like pulling me back towards it, where I had like, it was fun and I had a great time with it, but I had like broken free of its spell, but now I'm
What about Demon Souls?
back under it. Shit, I'm still playing Demon Souls. It's already hit, the server's already closed down. End of an era.
You can still play one player, couldn't you?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you don't need them.
I played the entire thing offline. So
Someone on Reddit's got third-party servers going up. So you just change your DNS settings on your PS3 and you can log into it, which is pretty great.
yeah, someone will do that, of course.
Yeah, always. Nothing dies these days. All right, should we wrap this up then?
Sounds good.
That's a cast.
All right, guys, you've been listening to Rather Be Playing episode 21. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, tell your friends about us. Let people know.
Our podcast can drink.
Our podcast can drink now. Let people know that. Yeah, so we're on iTunes, wherever you like to find your podcast. Stitcher, SoundCloud. We have a YouTube channel where we put every episode of the podcast, as well as our Twitch streams. Speaking of the Twitch streams, twitch.tv/ratherbyplaying. You would have seen Stevo streaming Celeste.
Unfortunately, he was a little antisocial. Apologies for not responding to the comments. I'll get that up and running the next time.
They were great comments too. I hope they're still there. We'll probably be streaming some Observer at some point, I think, these next 2 weeks. If you have questions, if you want to join in on the conversation, please don't hesitate. You can send us emails at questions.ratherbyplaying.com. Tweet us, thanks, Stevo, at at RBPcast, at RBP Elliot, at RBP Stevo, at RBP Josh. Our website is ratherbecast.com.
Please like us, love us.
Love
Want some more of us.
Give us the thumbs up on YouTube and follow us on Twitch. And
we're not desperate, but we can't feed our families.
It's true. We all quit our jobs before we started this, and it has not been paying off.
This was a bad idea. We did not think this through.
We didn't think this through at all. That's not true. We're just doing this for fun, so we hope you're having fun too.
See you in a fortnight.
Goodbye to you now, fathers.
See ya.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.